So from my understanding, people either love or hate this type. I don't really care. I just like making this video. What's up, Ocean? You got Matt here, coach of your MattOshea Milotic and your local League format enthusiast. Today I'm giving you a top 6 list on the top 6 fairy type Pokemon in the Draft League format. I'm very excited for this one, guys, because we only have 2 more left. We got this fairy type list that we're doing today, and then next week we have the top 10 dragon types coming out for you guys. And then, of course, onto Megas. So guys, if you guys are excited for this list, if you guys are excited for this series, make sure to smash the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. I make a ton of list videos as well as Pokemon content, whether it's Draft League. I'm planning to start doing some more Wi-Fi battles, and potentially in the future, in the summer, a Let's Play. Before we get started, I want to remind you guys that this list is based off of my opinion, so if you disagree with something, that's okay. Let me know why in the comment section below, and we'll have a nice little discussion about it. Also, make sure to like the video and subscribe again if you have not already. And without further ado, let's get into the top 6 fairy types in the Draft League format. Coming at number 6, we have a Pokemon that I did not expect to make this list, and I'm sure a lot of you guys are going to be kind of salty that it is on the list, because it's a Pokemon that does not really deserve to be on it, in some eyes. But you look at other Pokemon, other fairy type Pokemon, they have dual typings, and their dual typing is a lot better, as they're not really treated as fairy types, and they're more treated as their dual typing, which is kind of iffy. So because of that, this Pokemon is on my list because it's an amazing fairy type. It does a good job as being a fairy type, and that is Slurpuff. Slurpuff is amazing, guys. I love it. But yeah, so Slurpuff is great, guys. I'm a big fan of using it. I've used it, I believe, once or twice now. And I'm a huge fan of it, mostly because it gets Sticky Web now. And of course, Sticky Web is a very useful move, lowering your opponent's speed by 1 stage upon entry, but it has access to a lot of great support moves, being Wish, Heal Bell, Aromatherapy. You have access to Calm Mind, Cotton Guard for setup. You of course have Belly Drum, which is great. Its abilities are pretty good too, not Sweet Veil, but more so Unburden. Unburden is great. Unburden allows you to make, Unburden basically makes it so that if you lose your item, then you will gain ×2 speed, which is really useful. So if you go for the Belly Drum, Citrus Berry, and Burden set, you will go to +6 attack and then +2 speed, and you'll then have super powerful moves like Return or Play Rough and Drain Punch. You just have a ton of great options. In terms of special moves, you have moves like Surf, Flamethrower, not Light Screen, Psychic, Dazzling Gleam, there you go, and of course you have your Fairy coverage. So look, this Pokemon is great pretty much everywhere. Its stats overall are decent. You have 82 HP, 86 defense, 75 special defense. It's not the best, but it's pretty useful what it can do, especially because you have moves like Wish, like I said before, and you make a very good cleric, of course, because you do have access to Heal Bell and Aromatherapy, like I was saying before. I think this Pokemon is very underrated, and in Tier 4, it's a Pokemon that I would usually draft if I had points for it, but of course, that's not always possible, and there are always better Fairy-type Pokemon out there. Anyways, guys, that's it for Slurpuff. Let me know if you think it should be on this list, or even if you like the Pokemon itself. And let's move on to number 5. At number 5, we have Sylveon, the first ever fairy, I'm going to say. I'm going to call this the original fairy. But Sylveon is phenomenal, guys. We all know that Sylveon is one of the best fairy type there are. It's not opinionated, it's fact. Sylveon is one of the best fairies there are. It has 2 abilities, one being Q-Charm, so I'm not really counting that, but the other one is Pixelated, and Pixelated is really, really good, or Pixelate, sorry. It's a very strong ability. It boosts the power of normal moves to 1.2 times and makes them stab fairy type, which is awesome. Pixelate is extremely useful with moves like Body Slam, like Hyper Voice, Hyper Beam even, and even Quick Attack that this thing gets. Look, this Pokemon has a lot of really good options. You have moves like Shadow Ball and Psyshock for consistent damage that aren't fairy type. You then have the hidden powers, which is not that great, but you do have a lot of support options with Calm Mind, Baton Pass, Heal Bell, and of course Wish. Look, Sylveon is amazing at what it does. It's a very good, especially offensive and especially defensive Pokemon at base 130 special defense. But when you look at it, its offense is nice, its defense and attack kind of suck, but because you have such a high special defense stat, you can afford to toss in pretty much all your special defense EVs into your defense and be able to have a really strong defensive stat. Sylveon at max, with max defense and a bold nature reaches 251 in its defense stat. If it has no EVs and IVs and a minus spit after nature, it has 238 special defense, which is insane, guys. It's so close to being like, look, pretty much Sylveon is always going to have a higher special defense than physical defense. Very rare that it won't. And look, Sylveon is just great, guys. That's all I can say about it. In terms of support moves that I like on it, I really like Wish on Sylveon. Pretty much necessary. You have access to your Calm Mind. I love a spec set. It's so powerful. And of course, Life Orb can be useful too if you want to switch up your moves. And Leftovers is very good for a potential defensive set. Anyways, guys, that's my thoughts on Sylveon. I love this Pokemon. I haven't really drafted it that much, but just the fact that it has so many different options to it makes it amazing. I personally prefer a different fairy as my favorite one, but this is definitely high up on my list. At number 4, we have my second favorite fairy type overall, and it is Florges. Florges is incredible. Florges has amazing stats at base 78 HP, 68 defense is meh, but you have ridiculous 154 Spadef. If you have no IVs, no EVs, a lowering nature, your Spadef stat will always be higher than your defense stat, which reaches 258 at most. Your Spadef stat can be as low as 281. That's just insanity, guys, when you think about it. Florges is just phenomenal in pretty much every single way at what it can do. It is a very good cleric. Wish, Protect, Heal Bell, Aromatherapy, whatever you need there, you got it. In terms of defensive stuff, what it can do, it walls a lot of things being pure fairy typing. You have access to really powerful moves in Moonblast, you have access to Psychic, you have Energy Ball, and you have the hidden powers, of course. You also have Giga Drain. My favorite Florges set that I've ever run is a Assault Vest set, and after that, it's a Choice Scarf set. I love those two offensive sets. They put in a lot of work because no one really expects it. They'll go into something a bit more offensive to put some pressure on it as you go for a Wish or a Heal Bell, but when they get smacked with a Moonblast at like a modest base 112 special attack Moonblast, they're going to be taken aback pretty much. Look, this thing is really powerful at what it does. I want you guys to understand that Florges is not a one-trick pony. It is not, and you could definitely do a lot of things with it. Its biggest downside though is its abilities. You have Flower Veil and Symbiosis, which are pretty much terrible. They're actually really, really bad. So don't draft it for its abilities, but its abilities kind of hold it back, but at the same time don't really do too much, so be careful with what you're doing it. Of course, they're only usable in doubles, so it doesn't really matter which one you use when you're playing in Draft League. At number 3, we have a 4-way tie between the Tapus. Of course the Tapus are on my list, guys. Like, as much as I don't like using them that much, I don't really like using them, but they are so good. They're extremely good at what they do. Of course, I have Tapu Fini on the picture there, because to me, Fini is the best fairy out of them. The other ones are just really good, and they have the fairy typing, so I'm just going to say they're good fairies, but they're better grass, psychic, and electric types. Look, Fini, in my eyes, has these stats built for a fairy that has 70 HP, 115 defense, and 130 special defense. It's extremely bulky. No reliable recovery to speak of, no Wish or Haze, no Wish or Heal Bell or Aromatherapy. It does get Haze. Look, this Pokemon has a lot of great support options. Its ability in Misty Surge just creates the Misty Terrain, which will make it so that Dragon moves are weakened, and at the same time, it will make it so that you can't be toxic because you are grounded, of course. Look, I love Fini, I love its artwork, I just can't use it in Draft League because it doesn't have that reliable recovery. If I have a good Wish Passer that isn't like water or fairy typing, I would be happy to take Fini and pair it with that thing. But this Pokemon needs that extra little bit of support to be a very good, useful wall for the long run of the game. In terms of moves that it gets, you of course have Moonblast, you have Surf, you have Taunt, you have Ice Beam, you have Knock Off, you get Grass Knot, I believe. This Pokemon has a lot of really nice options, and if you use it well, then you can be very successful. You have Defog and Calm Mind as well if you want to have some other nice little options to it. My favorite set is definitely a Choice Spec set on this thing because it hits really hard when many people don't expect it. Again, I love defensive fairy types that can play offensively, and that to me is the sign of a good fairy because again, the fairy type is so strong offensively, it's in my eyes the best offensive typing, and because of that, guys, you gotta be very smart with the fairy that you draft. At number 2, we have my favorite fairy, and one of my top 5 favorite Pokemon overall, and that is Clefable. This fat pink blob is awesome. It doesn't look impressive. It doesn't. I'll give you that. Its stats are terrible. 95 HP, 70 attack, 73 defense, 95 special attack, 90 special defense, and 60 speed are not impressive. That total of base 483 is bad. It's bad. I'm pretty sure it has the second lowest stat total out of everything on this list except for, of course, the Slurpuff. But it's amazing. Why? Well, its abilities are great. Magic Guard, Unaware, amazing. Magic Guard, for those who don't know, will make it so that you don't take damage from anything except for damaging moves. So you don't take damage from hazards, you don't take damage from Life Orb, you don't take damage from poison or toxic or burn. So that's amazing right there. And then Unaware makes you not care about setup, and that's awesome. Of course, if your opponent has Mold Breaker, they're going to ignore that. But the fact that you have Unaware makes it so that if your opponent goes for a Dragon Dance, or if your opponent goes for a Swords Dance, you're still taking what you would normally take, and that's awesome. This thing has very steady, reliable forms of recovery in Soft Boiled, in Moonlight, in Wish. You have also access to Cleric moves like Aromatherapy and Heal Bell. I honestly had this Pokemon at number 1, but I then kind of like said, you know what, I can't do it. But it's such an amazing fairy type. It does literally all the things that I want. It has amazing moves like Moonblast, like Fire Blast, like Thunderbolt. You have Ice Beam, you have Meteor Mash. If you want to be that guy, run the Belly Drum set. I don't care. This Pokemon is phenomenal, guys. I'm pretty sure it gets stored power too, if I'm not mistaken. I'm just gonna double check that really quickly so I don't lie to you guys. But yeah, it does get stored power, and actually, if you didn't know, it gets Stealth Rocks too, which is really useful. It doesn't get Defog like Florges does, but this Pokemon has so many useful moves to it, and honestly, if you can pick up Clefable, then you're never going to go wrong. This Pokemon is phenomenal. Anyways, guys, those are my thoughts on Clefable. Let's move on to number 1. At number 1, of course, we have Magearna, and no, I don't know what's up with the sprites on the layout, guys. Yes, it's black, but it should be like gray or silver, or that red Pokeball sprite. Magearna is ridiculous. That's all I can say. It's ridiculous. If you give this thing a Z-Crystal, if you give this thing an Assault Vest, if you give this thing a Shuckleberry, whatever it is, you can either set up, be an amazing pivots, and then, or just obliterate everything. This is the one Pokemon I said, you know what? It's an offensive fairy type, and it's not a defensive one. It has good defensive stats at 80 HP, 115 defense and special defense, and good defensive typing, but it's not a defensive fairy. I think this Pokemon is just phenomenal. It's an amazing fairy type. It's an amazing steel type. It's just a great Pokemon overall. Look, I'm not going to say that I believe that it should be allowed in most leagues or it's not allowed in most leagues. I think this thing is really strong. It's an extremely powerful Pokemon overall. Its ability in Soul Heart makes so that if there's a death on the field, whether it's by you or by hazards or by toxic, whatever it is, you will get a +1 in special attack. And boosting your already 130 special attack stat is ridiculous. You get access to a ton of moves. I have to kind of list them off, guys. So I apologize, but you get access to moves like Aura Sphere, you have Calm Mind, you have Dazzling Gleam, Energy Ball, Flash Cannon, Fleur Cannon, Focus Blast, Grass Knot, Ice Beam, Iron Head for those shiftier sets, Shadow Ball, Signal Beam, Shiftier like I said before, T-Bolt, T-Wave, Trick Room, Volt Switch. Look, this Pokemon has so many different options. I'm pretty sure it even gets, yeah, it does get Pain Split. It gets Pain Split too, which is so useful. The one thing that you should all know is that this thing does not get Toxic, actually. No Toxic on this thing, which is kind of crazy when you think about it. All Pokemon get Toxic. Most Pokemon get Toxic. Not this thing. Look, I love Magearna. I think it's extremely powerful. If I had the number 1 pick in a draft that allowed it and no other really busted stuff like Mega Blaziken or something, I would take this thing. I would. This thing is amazing. It's extremely powerful. Not many switches to it. If you have a reliable ground and fire resist, then, I mean, what can you say? Anyways, those are my thoughts on Magearna, guys, and these are my top 6 fairy-type Pokemon in the Draft League format. Let me know what you think about them in the comment section below. If you disagree with me, that's okay. Post it, tell me why, and of course, like the video, guys. Subscribe if you haven't already. It really helps me out. And look, guys, we're doing great things here, so if you do enjoy the content, it definitely helps me out. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Again, I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching. My name is MattOshea, and I will see you all next time.